Hey guys, welcome back. Atisha here, back for another chapter reading of section 132, A Child Bride Forced into Polygamy. This is by Helga Zeiner. Let's go ahead and get into our next chapter. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button as we jump into this. I'm going to be off camera probably for most of this. I'll try to show my face because I know some of you all like to see my reactions if I say something, but my signal is janky and I want to make sure that I get this done because I got to go and work out. So, yeah, I'm trying to do better, y'all. Maybe I'll start talking about some of the things I've been thinking about in my life. Anyways, one of the things that I'm trying to work on is my fitness. And as a result of that, it's a little bit of a juggle here, but I'm not going anywhere. No worries. Let's get to why we're here, which is section. See, I did what I said I was going to do. Section 132. We are starting with chapter 12. The bishop was asking for divine guidance on how to treat Anna's scandalous violation of proper conduct. Some of the wives had been ordered to the main house to pray with him. Now, if y'all don't remember, because it's been a couple of days, the scandalous action was her speaking out the way that she did, her blaming the others, her fussing because they wanted to remove her child that had passed basically because she was not allowed to tend to her child and feed her child and make sure her child was warm. So, if anybody has a say, it's really the so called bishop that should be blamed for this. But this is what he's talking about. So, let me continue. It was a privilege to be called to his duty, to be at his side when he was inspired by the Lord with a blessing. Each of the sister wives who were not permitted to spend the evening on their knees in the community hall were expected to pray in solitude in their own huts. Martha wasn't quite sure what to do, but thought it would be best to follow Marion's implicit instruction to stay in Anna's hut. Maybe she should have been praying too, but it was so comforting to have two blankets for herself. She just couldn't find the willpower to kneel down on the cold floor. Suddenly, she heard a noise outside and was immediately alarmed. Anybody could look through the cracks in the wall and see that she was not praying because she had a candle burning. Quickly, she slid to the door and pressed her hands on her chest. Her heart was pounding deep and fast from the sudden threat and stopped altogether, or at least missed a few beats, when she heard the door hinges creak. One of her sister wives entered the room and walked right into the cone of the candlelight. Martha remembered seeing the intruder in the kitchen earlier today and a few other times before then, but she did not remember her name. The familiar but unknown woman was still very young, but much taller than Martha and even skinnier, just skin and bones, really, and she had burning eyes that were quite small but still managed to glimmer in the semi darkness like red hot coals in a fireplace. I'm Emma Elizabeth, she said, settling on the crate bed without waiting to be asked. But can you call me Emma? Everybody does. Martha stayed on her knees waiting. Oh, come on, get up. I know you didn't pray, neither did I. Some of the others didn't either, but I am not telling you who. Martha was totally taken. What a ludicrous statement. This could not be. The woman was testing her. She quickly defended herself. I did pray. It is our duty to our husband. How can you say I didn't? I saw you through the cracks. You were stretched out on the crate. I bet you ate something too. I did not. Yes, you did. There are crumbs. I can feel them, see? Emma ran her hands over the thin mattress, found what she was looking for, and triumphantly held up her thumb and forefinger. Martha could not see if there was anything in between. Maybe there was. Still on her knees, she nearly cried in desperation because the woman was wrong. She hadn't done anything bad, at least not this time. This was from before. And when Anna was asleep here, I didn't eat anything. Emma did a patronizing eye roll. Oh, don't be such a scary cat. I don't care what you do. Actually, do you have anything to eat in here? Anna stored the rations for herself, the baby, and for Martha in a basket hanging from the ceiling. Marion had handed out the weekly rations only 2 days ago, so there must be plenty left. Martha finally got up and obediently pulled the basket down because Emma was older than her and had been married to their husband before her, giving her seniority. I think that the fact that this girl then walked up in this room and welcomed herself to sit in here and say what she's saying and then help herself to her food like she didn't get her own rations is problematic, but we'll see what comes of this. Emma jumped up and came closer. My, there's quite a stash. Look, you have half a loaf of bread. And what is this? Milk? Martha was fascinated by the open delight Emma displayed. If this was a test, would the other women go as far as to eat or drink anything on a prayer night when it's forbidden? Do you want some? May I? When Martha hesitated, Emma quickly pointed out that Anna would not be coming back to this hut ever again. The two girls looked at each other. Martha broke some bread from the loaf and handed it to Emma. If she takes it, she will forgive me because I shared it with her, she hoped. She will not tell the others that I have failed our husband. Emma greedily stuffed the bread in her mouth, hardly chewing before she swallowed it, and asked if she could have some milk too. Martha thought of the dead baby girl who had been the reason for the trouble Anna was in now and handed Emma the bottle. The dead child didn't need it anymore, and she herself wouldn't drink it either. Ever since she had vomited so violently, she hated the smell of milk. After Emma had taken a long sip, Martha broke some more bread, sat down next to Emma, and started to eat as well. Emma, still chewing with deep concentration, arranged the blankets over both their legs. I don't think Marion will remember that Anna's ration is still here. She often forgets such things. Once Sarah got twice what was due to her because she went up to the main house and stood in line twice. Marion didn't remember that she had handed the ration out to her already. That was lucky, but not for Sarah. It was a lucky day for us. You see, Sarah wouldn't have shared anything with us. When she came back with her second ration, some of us had already taken the first lot. The best part was that Sarah couldn't say anything because she would have been punished for tricking Marion as much as we would have been for taking it away from her. But that's stealing. No, it's not. It's fair distribution. You are so silly. You don't understand anything. We wives have to stick together, don't you know? So sticking together is stealing food from each other? Oh, okay. Let me keep reading. Some of us know how important it is to help each other. Martha could not remember when she had heard anything that outrageous. The bread in her stomach and Emma's amazing claim of women bonding together made her feel all warm inside, but she didn't really understand what it meant. Nobody had ever spoken to her like that, so open, so personal, as if she was a real person, deserving to be taken into in confidence. Mm. Telling her secrets, sharing tales of disobedience, theft, and lies. Nobody had ever considered her worthy of such trust. That's because everybody is lying about what they have going on and everybody's judging each other. And while she's sitting here and she's worried about getting judgment, they're all doing their own things in their own ways. She wanted to prolong the moment, know more about the wives who stuck together and helped each other. Martha moved closer to Emma. Her body radiated such warmth. What about this, Sarah? How did you know she wouldn't have shared her ration? She is not one of us. Emma crossed her legs and tucked them in again where the blankets had slipped. Do you want to know who belongs to us and who doesn't? Yes, please, yes. Well, I can't tell you. We talked about it walking down from the house tonight. You know, I was one of those who had gone to the boring prayer session, and we agreed that we must wait and see how you turn out. We can't trust you yet, you know? That's what they said. But I don't agree. I know what you've been thinking. Ever since our husband banned you from his bed, you have thought about running away from here, right? Martha couldn't believe it. How could Emma know what she had planned on that last desperate day in the dump? She frantically tried to think of something to say. See, I'm right. You have that look on your face, Martha blurted. It would do no good. There is nowhere to go. Emma pursed her lips. I guess you're right, but you can dream about it, can't you? Sometimes I picture that we live on a small plate And when I run far enough, I fall off the rim and I land on a much larger plate underneath. It's always sunny and warm on the big plate, and the people smile all the time, and lots of fruit and veggies grow there, and we all have plenty to eat. And all the men are nice to their wives and look after them and their babies. Nobody tries to climb back on the small plate ever. They are too happy and laugh about the people above their heads who are so miserable. And you know what I dream next? One day, somebody takes a huge shotgun and blasts up there, and the small plate shatters into a million pieces, and they rain down on us like big snowflakes. Everybody dances in the snowstorm and then builds big snowmen that look like ugly fat men, and then we all blow those to pieces too. This girl has a big imagination. Like, what is going on? Okay, that's the most funny part of it. I have to laugh every time I see that happen. Martha shook her head. The picture Emma had painted was delightful, funny, and wonderful, but impossible. Best not to even think about such a wonderful world. It was not permitted to think like that. See, I just like it's not permitted to dream. Do y'all hear how that sounds? That in some of these cults, it is not permitted for them to dream because they're not just dreaming. Their dreams aren't in the will of the men. I don't, ooh, woo, my goodness. Mm. Best not to. Okay, it wasn't permitted to think like that. Suddenly, Martha got worried again. She must not encourage Emma's ideas. You said you were at the main house. How come you're back already? I thought this was to be an all-night prayer session. Oh, right. You don't know yet what happened. This is really exciting. Emma chuckled. We were in the middle of our first long recital, the one about the husband's duty to punish his wives if they sinned, and how the blood atonement is righteous punishment, and how he will be rewarded in heaven for it. And my knees were hurting. So much, although we had been, excuse me, so much although we had only been at it for an hour or so, when there was a small cry from Marian. She turned all white in the face and lost the words of the prayer and started mumbling incoherently. She is always the one who prays aloud to guide us along, and she always feels our husband's revelations coming even before he does. When she started to act funny, our husband went over to her and they whispered together. I was right next to her and I could hear what she said. The Lord wants you to wait to see if she is with child, she said to him really softly, but I still understood. Then he went back to his chair. You know, he can't kneel because of his bad joints. And the praying went on a bit longer. And then suddenly he had a revelation. He said, we must all go back and wait. Anna may be with child. And that means he can't kill her, or at least not right away. What? What? This man wants to unalive her? Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Stunned, Martha hung on to Emma's words. Do you think Anna has to die? Oh, sure. But if she's pregnant, she can stay on until after the birth, and then he will kill her. Sarah said he can't let such things go unpunished. What would it come to if he lets disobedience like Anna's go unpunished? She said, but I told you, Sarah is not one of us, and she always makes comments like that. How would Anna be killed? Who knows? When I was with my old family in Utah, the women would be taken to the desert and left behind without any water. But here, last time he shot one of us because she tried to escape, and I guess he had no choice. He had to stop her somehow. We all heard the shot, but we didn't see what happened. So I can't say if he killed her. As far as I know, there has been no blood atonement apart from that incident, but I have only been here a few years. I came just a year before Anna. Emma pulled a face. I can't say I feel sorry for Anna. She's always been greedy and tried to get our husband's attention away from the rest of us. See, this goes back to them blaming the other wives for things when it's really just his preference. He prefers Anna over them, and he was preferring Martha until she got sick from the violence that he had on her. So who's to say? But this is what happens with these ladies. Back to the book. Anyway, in Utah, it was really easy to get rid of women like her. Rita thinks Anna will be butchered like the pigs, but I don't believe that because he doesn't like blood and guts and stuff. He always goes away when we have slaughter day and the blood starts running. Who is Rita? One of us. Ouch. Now I said it. Emma bit her lip, indicating that she shouldn't have been so careless. Please don't tell anybody that I mentioned a name. No, I won't. I promise. Swear by the name of the Lord. I swear. Now they truly shared a secret. Martha was grateful for this, but she was also confused. One of her sister wives had been killed by her husband, one that had tried to run away. She asked Emma about the dead wife. No, you got that wrong. I didn't say it was a sister wife. It was only one of the girls. Catherine's daughter, actually. That's why Catherine's gone mad. She can't handle it. Although the girl deserved whatever she got, y'all. This is for her to say that that girl deserved to be unalive because she wanted to not be a part of this. It just goes to show you how damaged these people and their psyches are. She was practically asking for it, always misbehaving. I saw it for myself. I witnessed her bad behavior lots of times. Well, they say the apple doesn't fall from the tree. Catherine has always been a bit odd, and her daughter was too. Martha was shocked. My father never killed anybody. Are you sure our husband would do such a thing? Emma laughed. No, I'm not. I told you, we only heard a shot. But after that, we never really saw her again. Still, maybe he only sent her away. That was how it must have been. Martha didn't want to think about blood atonement. She wanted to ban such thoughts from her mind altogether because, based on her own experience, she actually considered the bishop capable of administering such extreme punishment as she would. Because here's the thing, she's sitting here saying that this guy is supposedly squeamish, but we know that he's not because we know that he slit that young lady's throat. And we also, sorry, my signal's going. And we also know that he is violent because he raped that other young lady, Martha, on multiple occasions. She was damaged on her inside. She mentioned that. So she doesn't know about this aspect of this man, or maybe she thinks that that's a part of it. Let's continue reading. Catherine would have gone crazy either way. I've heard stuff about her from the other Alberta wives you wouldn't believe. Emma proceeded to share some of the stories she had been told about Catherine and about some of the sister wives with Martha. The two girls huddled closer under the blankets and giggled and gossiped. It was the most wonderful time Martha had ever had, and she was disappointed when Emma announced she had better go. She was one of the chosen ones, having two children with their husband who now needed her attention. Two is enough to go to heaven with him, she grinned. For the others, it's three. But our husband said I won't need to get another one. He doesn't like thin women. It's been a burden for him already to give me those two. Whoa, 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 whoa. She playfully slapped her own cheek. Oh dear, I'm sorry, Martha. I forgot. You don't have any yet. Martha didn't want to dwell on this complication. One day she would have to face the consequences of being barren, but please not now. Someone brought this up in the comment section, and forgive me for not remembering who right now, but I didn't even take into consideration the fact that she's being assaulted left and right. And this is going to continue until she supposedly has a child. And yet she's at an age where her body, let's not even talk about her stature, but where she may not even have the eggs to produce said child. It's just insane what these women go through. Emma shouldn't spoil this perfect moment by reminding her of her shortcomings. Don't worry, I am young. I will be 14 next month. It can still happen. Soon after prayer night, rumors swirled around the compound that Anna had indeed been lucky enough to conceive before she had lost her firstborn. Martha praised the Lord for doing the right thing in sending a child to the woman who needed it most. She did not consider her evaluation of the Lord's good judgment arrogant. In fact, she thought she should make it clear to him that she appreciated his wisdom. All After all, she could have been upset with the Lord because she was still outside the circle of the chosen ones. Deep inside, however, she was grateful for his oversight. He might have a lot more possibilities in store for her to get pregnant, but for now, she gladly accepted to be left out. For the duration of her pregnancy, Anna was confined to the prison hut, which meant Martha had the hut to herself. Nobody bothered her there as long as she showed up in the kitchen every morning and did her chores to Marion's satisfaction. This makes me wonder if when Anna has the baby, Martha's going to be expected to take care of it. We'll see. As winter moved slowly forward without her being summoned to her husband's bed, Martha began to relax a bit. Since Emma had come into her life, she felt much better. It didn't occur to her that day by day, week after week, month after month, she found life more bearable because she was continuously lowering her expectations. Her rations were never quite enough to make her feel full and seemed to get smaller as the months went on. But she had something that helped her forget how hungry she was: Emma. Most evenings, when they had finished their duties, they sat together, either in Martha's hut or when Emma needed to stay with her children and hers, sharing a few peaceful moments. Often, one of the sister wives, those who belonged to the secret group of queer thinkers, a phrase coined by Emma and happily accepted by Martha, took charge of a small group of children to give the other mothers a little respite. It had to be carefully organized to make sure the followers of the faith did not get wind of such disobedience. From the information Emma accidentally let slip, Martha had already figured out that there were at least 5 wives who did not follow the word as it was written. When she asked Emma about their identities, Emma refused to answer. It was great risk to oppose the bishop's rules in the slightest way, and Martha still had not earned their trust. All those conversations with Emma made Martha even more aware of the forbidden thoughts brewing inside her. Hidden within much of Emma's harmless and innocent sounding chatter, Martha detected a message of rebellion. Everything, whatever they had to do, how they spent their days, where they had to live, what was being said, was scrutinized and ridiculed by Emma. Martha secretly questioned many of those things too, but would have never talked about them had Emma not asked her opinion on many occasions. Imagine the older women wanted to know her opinion. To come up with a half intelligent answer, Martha had to sift through her memory, digging deep into her minimal life experience. She knew so little. By springtime, she had so many things to think about, she started to forget counting her steps when she walked up to the main house. Chapter 13. I think this is Mouschki, Mouschi bar, was a classic pickup joint. Richard had noticed it a few years back because the name had intrigued him. In the German language, Mushka, oh, maybe it's Mushki. Okay, Mushka was an endearing synonym for the female private parts. What? Am I saying that right? Hold on. Let me see this. Okay, according to Google, it's Mushi. Okay, so Mushi was an endearing synonym for the female private parts, much nicer than the 4 letter English words that was commonly used, he thought. The bar lived up to what its name promised. Richard had often found willing partners for a quick evening romp there. Aside from the single women who frequented this bar looking for the same uncomplicated transient connection, some of the some of the barmaids, excuse me, once they got to know him, indicated their willingness to serve him more than a cold beer in the back room. When he was particularly stressed out, he liked to make use of their offer. Rosie and some of her like minded servers only expected a small donation toward their income, of course. No need to flirt and chat and laugh. Today was one of those days. He had never had to worry about cash flow before, but now money was rapidly drying up. And on top of that, he had to deal with a lot of the bureaucratic nonsense that spelled trouble down the line. By early afternoon, he had enough of it. Without giving Daisy any explanation other than that he would be back soon, he left the office and headed straight for the Mushi bar. At this time of day, it didn't surprise him that he was the only customer. Rosie was polishing beer glasses behind the counter. He was so eager to distract. Oh, maybe it's not Rosie, Rossi. Excuse me, Rossi was polishing beer glasses behind the counter. He was so eager to distract himself that he didn't bother to order a beer, but rather indicate, okay, it is Rosie, to Rosie, that he would prefer to spend the next, how he would prefer to spend the next 15 minutes. She went around the counter to the front door, locked it, came back to him, took him by the hand, and guided him to a small office in the storage room. Sensing his eagerness, she expertly handled him, and he, still standing up, pushed her against the wall as soon as she had rolled her mini skirt up high enough. Then disaster struck. His stupid, overloaded brain refused to give in to his need for physical release. It just didn't want to shut up. He had come here to forget all the goddamn problems he had to deal with throughout office hours, but now a multitude of calculations, arguments, and counter arguments didn't know their time and place, like so often nowadays, as if they had a right to control every waking moment of his life, as if they had a right to control his basic desires. He tried a few desperate thrusts to get things upright again, but to no avail. Rosie made matters worse by reminding him that he had 10 more minutes to get his act together and that he had to pay her regardless. 10 minutes. First of all, I'm trying hard not to judge sex workers. I get it. Everybody, has to make a living. I hope that it comes to a point where that doesn't have to be a thing, that people aren't so desperate for funds that that's what they have to do. But the fact that this man has thinks that him having sex with this random person is going to help, yeah, find another route. Anyways, so 10 minutes. The harder he tried to switch off his racing mind, the more pushy, the vivid the worries became. They had finally offloaded the last condo. This morning, the realtor had confirmed the final sale. Now his company had only one asset left, one that was becoming more of a liability every day. God, Rosie, don't just stand there. Do something. Damn it. He had put all his eggs in one basket. That was a pretty scary thought. In fact, it was so scary, it made him very nervous. He should stop thinking about it. All his cards on one bet. What if it didn't pan out as he expected? God damn, it made him too nervous. That was the problem. He should stop worrying. Things were not going as smoothly as he had hoped. Although they had been able to come up with the purchase price at the end of last year and had sailed through the process of getting approval from the local planning committee, the following 3 months had been an uphill struggle. Stop worrying. There's nothing you could do right now. All those delays started to annoy the hell out of him. Maybe the sheer magnitude of this development worried the government departments involved. They had never been so slow before. Every single application Daisy had made took twice as long as usual to be processed and was apparently scrutinized through a gigantic magnifying glass. Some days he was so frustrated over the unnecessary delays that he blamed Daisy for it. Totally unfair, of course, but she took it all with stoical, um, where am I? Stoical abilities, which made him even more frustrated. How dare she be so aloof when it came to his livelihood? How dare she ignore his problems? He had hoped to get the all important preliminary layout approval by the PLA by now, but as far as he knew, the Ministry of Transportation had not yet forwarded all their documentation to the approving officer who would preside over the whole development and watch every single step until all governmental conditions were made. He didn't want to think about how much every single month of delay cost him in interest payments. He didn't want to think at all. Daisy should be trying harder to push this process along. You sitting here blaming Daisy, but Daisy warned you that this wasn't a good idea and you didn't listen to Daisy. And because you were her boss, she just was quiet. So don't push Daisy when she tried to warn you. Okay, let's keep reading. She just didn't care enough. He pushed harder thinking about her. Daisy, gorgeous, long legged, detached, distant Daisy. It worked amazingly fast. The erotic image of Daisy dissolved into a blurred rush. He managed to muster up a semblance of hardness enough to quickly release some of his built up tension. It was a far cry from what he was used to, but at least he had managed that. He straightened his clothes, took a few bank notes out of his wallet, and put them on the bar counter before he rushed out into the street without saying goodbye to Rosie. He didn't think he would ever go back there. Spring had arrived early. It was late March, and the cherry trees along Robinson Street were full bloom already. Unsatisfied and angry with himself, he headed back to the office. Daisy would still be there, working, and the best thing for him to do would be to join her and concentrate on the task that needed to be done. He slowed down his pace. Daisy, he had better collect himself before he faced her. She was too smart. He always suspected that she could read him like an open book. My God, she would be horrified if she knew what she had just assisted in. She would despise him. But of course, she would never find out because he would never tell her what part she sometimes played in his fantasies. So he got a thing for Daisy. Interesting. That's where I'm going to end it for today. Y'all let me know what you thought about this chapter. We are now being introduced to yet another person, which is Emma, another wife. We don't know her age, but we know she is young, not sure how young. And we now know that there are a group of wives that do not agree with what's going on, and they've been vocal about it. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes along. Like the video as it helps the channel. Don't hesitate to check out some of my other content. I am currently now reviewing The Plaths. I'm starting with season 1, episode 1, and I may incorporate the newer season. I'm waiting to see what the people who watch it have to say because I asked them that question. So we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, let me know what you thought of this chapter. Please like the video once again as it helps and check out some of the other content. Until next time.